Hello, my name is Ed, or otherwise known as Inspector on the trails. Just wanted to introduce myself here and talk about how I will be hiking the Arizona Trail northbound and starting in a couple days. Just some background about me from the East Coast, Northeast in particular. I've done the Adirondack 46 a couple times, the Northeast 115, highest 4,000 footers in the full Northeast. I've done the Appalachian Trail back in 2022 northbound, the Pacific Crest Trail in 2023, kind of a flip-flop, and the Continental Divide Trail this past summer, 2024, for my Triple Crown. It's a goal of mine to get all of the National Scenic Trails done, preferably before I'm 30, but life comes at you fast. I'm 24 now. There are some big fish out there still, particularly the North Country Trail, but that will come in the future, and we'll see how tackling that goes. But for now, the 800-mile Arizona Trail from the Mexican border to the Utah border. I'm going to be hiking it with a friend of mine that I met on the Pacific Crest Trail. We hiked about 1,000 miles, give or take, together. His name's Outlaw, and really excited for it. Yeah, so I'm going to kind of get into my gear stuff, how some of my resupply looks. Missing a couple things here. I got my Sawyer water filter upstairs, my food container, a couple water bottles and all that. But I'll kind of break down what I do here for my gear, break down my resupply. Before I know it, I'll be on a plane in a couple days, heading down to Tucson, and then in a shuttle to the border, and I'll be walking. So I just wanted to document my travels here a little bit more. I think having something like this will be a really great way to kind of look back at it after the fact and regather some of those memories, not just looking at some pictures or some notes from what I did, but some actual video footage. And without further ado, we'll get into the gear. Never been one for the aesthetic gear dump picture, but we're gonna go through everything real quick. First things first, we're gonna start with clothing. This is a Patagonia micro puff or nano puff, synthetic down. Has lasted me through my Triple Crown. I love it to death. It's heavy, keeps me warm. Works as a good pillow at night too. Helly Hansen base layer. Got this through work. Nice and warm for the chillier nights, which there's going to be plenty of here on the AZT. A Rob base layer for bottoms. I got this in Idlewild on the PCT. I was definitely not prepared for how cold it got in those higher elevation areas. Has been a lifesaver. Just some regular Fruit of the Loom boxers. I like to have something nice and clean to get into at nighttime. So gonna be trying out this Mountain Hardwear and Air fleece. So the inside has these fibers on it that allegedly are supposed to keep you very warm. The ultralight community is really big on them. Standard gloves, got a buff and a beanie. Good to have all your extremities and your head taken care of in any of those colder situations. A bandana, this can be used for the big things, pre-filtering. I got into some really nasty water situations in New Mexico on the CDT, and I know that this saved my filter dearly. So having one for this trail will be huge. There's some questionable water sources, especially in the beginning. Got a Frog Togs rain jacket and some Patagonia rain pants. I've always been one that's kind of went on the cheaper side with the rain jackets. Everything kind of wets out eventually. These have been great. It's kind of like just a trash bag, but it keeps you dry. And these rain pants I got in Montana, and realistically, I really wouldn't want to cheap out on rain pants, just depending on what kind of weather you're getting into. The AZT is not really going to be that rainy, but it is going to be colder, so these will be nice to have for those colder mornings, kind of getting out of camp, especially if it's below freezing at all or around there. Going along with the clothing, I have an Outdoor Research Echo sun hoodie. Treated me well on the CDT. I wore a t-shirt version on the Appalachian Trail. Loved it. Great. Lightweight. I sweat a ton. So especially when it's, those summer-like temperatures, talking 70s, 80s, I'll be a lot more comfortable in this than a heavier set sun hoodie. Some John G running shorts. I love these. I like the cool patterns. I'm kind of torn between this and a set of Prana shorts that I got over the wintertime. We'll kind of see how I want to do it. My sock combo is always a set of Darn Tough socks. I usually will bring 2 pairs for hiking, and 1 pair is always reserved for sleeping. No matter what, wherever I am, I always have a set of dry clothes to sleep in. Injinji liners for my toesies, keeps away the blisters, and a lot of information that I've got from people that have hiked this trail before say people really tend to have issues with blisters and stuff, so I'll be definitely keeping on that. A CDT hat, some Ultra Gators. Let's get into my big three. Got a Big Agnes Tiger Wall 2. I like extra space. I like a freestanding tent. I don't like the whole trekking pole setup. I had a bad experience with it. On the PCT, not a fan. I like being able to kind of have something that's going to be rigid and strong, and the Tiger Wall is fantastic, and Big Agnes is fantastic. I've only had great things with their tents. For under my sleeping pad, I have this thin Gossamer Gear. I think it's an 1/8-inch pad. I like to baby my expensive sleeping pad and not have to worry about it popping or anything. Footprint for the tent, stakes, poles, whole 9 yards. My quilt here is an Enlightened Equipment Enigma. I believe it's a 15-degree. I used to be really big into sleeping bags and thinking they were way better, and I tried a quilt for the first time last year on the CDT, and I'm sold for life. Combination with my Thermarest Neo Air X Lite or whatever. That combination's huge, being able to attach this to the quilt and lock down all that warm air. Yeah, game changer. Gossamer Gear Mariposa, 60 liter. I've always been really big on Osprey packs, and for every leg of my triple, I've used an Osprey Exos 58 liter. But I did use this pack for a solid amount of time on the PCT. I like it a lot too. I had issues with breathability on the back, but I recently got a different pad, so that should support me better and kind of keep that sweat away a little bit more. Some Lecky trekking poles. These have upwards of 5,000 miles on them. Fantastic. Love them to death. Best poles in the world. I've seen them flex inside completely, and they're still here and they're still kicking just fine. So moving on out of the big three or the big four into some tech stuff. Anchor 20,000 milliamp power bank. I almost never run out of charge because of how beefy this thing is, and it's huge and it weighs a lot, but I like the peace of mind. It's nice. I listen to a lot of music during the day. That kind of drains your battery as the day goes on, so I like being covered in that sense. But it's this will last me at least 8 days on trail, sometimes like close to 10, 12 if I'm really being stingy with stuff. So a trail like this, where that's going to be, half the trail, you're close to it, 3/4 of it, or a quarter of the trail. It'll be huge to have something like this. Cork ball. I love to roll out my feet. Your feet always get, beat up like crazy on through hikes. So it kind of relaxes that. Sometimes I'll kind of put it in the pockets of my hips if I'm feeling a little tightness there. Just overall, great massage ball. It's small. It weighs almost nothing. So that's pretty huge. Little pocket knife. Most of the time, this really goes towards opening boxes for resupply or some kind of food-related thing. I've had a lot of people ask me in the past, and anyone who's through hike definitely has got the question, why don't you carry a gun? And you don't need one anywhere that I've been, at least. Never felt like I've been in danger in any kind of sense. But anywho, headphones, listen to a ton of podcasts, a lot of music. I like to kind of not get lost in my thoughts all the time. So having that's really nice. Leuco tape, absolutely massive for keeping away blisters and kind of being proactive rather than reactive with that kind of thing. It can also be used for any kind of cuts, scrapes, anything like that. Disinfect it and then tape it right up. Same for just having blisters in general. Pop the blister, sanitize it, cover it up with a couple layers of Leuco tape. You're good to go. Got a night core headlamp, rechargeable. I don't like dealing with batteries. It really annoys me. This thing's great. Super lightweight, charges really fast. No complaints there. We've got a Deuce of Spades trowel and a little bidet attachment. I've recently been converted to rolling the bidet in the backcountry, and especially in the desert where you're not really gonna see your toilet paper go to waste, or not go to waste, but yeah, I mean, any trail that's not the AT, really, you're packing out your toilet paper or you're using a bidet. So I'd much rather do the latter than the former. I did have some areas in the Sierra where I was packing out my toilet paper because I didn't use a bidet at that point, and it was gross, but it worked, and I didn't make toilet paper blossoms like I saw a lot of the times along those JMT areas. Earplugs to sleep at night. I'm a light sleeper. Hearing noises wakes me up, scares me. But yeah, Body Glide, amazing for the nooks and crannies, so to speak. Prevents a lot of rashes, especially when you're all salty, grimy, dirty, and that's all rubbing against each other. It's huge. Plays a big role. I get pretty weird ingrown toenails sometimes, so I always have nail clippers with me. A lot of times on trail, you'll see them in hiker boxes and stuff, but I'd rather have my own set, not have to worry about anyone else's toe fungus or anything like that. Cords, have a bunch of them. Got one for my phone, one for my power bank, a couple blocks and stuff too, but not included here right now. Fanny pack is always essential. Keep my phone and wallet in it at all times. My rationale behind that is, whether I'm in town or doing something, my phone and wallet are always on my person, and those are kind of like the two most important things. I guess like if something really went wrong, identification, my phone that can be used as a satellite communicator, emergency situation, got a lighter, starting fires, any kind of emergency like that. I've carried one on every trail I've done. I've rarely used it. Trusty little spork here. Got this for the PCT. It's been used a lot. I cold soak. I don't use the stove. So yeah, my food situation is pretty basic. I'm currently washing my big peanut butter jar that I'm going to be using for this trail, so it's not here in this smorgasbord of stuff. Some odds and ends, some sunscreen, good for the desert. Baby powder, good for rashes. And I do have a couple compactor bags, which I use, one as a pack liner and two as a food bag liner. Pretty huge and waterproofing in general. I do have a pack cover, but I don't think I'm going to bring it on this trail, just purely because there's not going to be that much precipitation. I'm sure there will be here and there, but nothing to the extremes that I've seen out east or along the divide or anything like that. And yeah, I guess anything else that's not here is a couple extra pair of socks that aren't actually out here. I've got my sunglasses as well, Pit Vipers. But yeah, stuff sacks to put my clothes in and my tech in. And everything else just kind of gets stuffed in that pack. And yeah, my food bag here is just a Z-Packs DCF bag. Works great. Bear bag. Bear hang on the AT all the time. And on the PCT where it was necessary. And on the CDT where it was necessary. But outside of Grizzly Country, at least. Grizzly Country using Ursac. But yeah, that's about everything I got for the gear. But I guess this is kind of the last little hurrah here before my flight to Tucson comes on Wednesday, very, very early. I'm going to be getting out of here at 3:30 a.m. to catch my 5:20 a.m. flight. So that's going to be horrendous. And we got to do 10 miles from the border to get to our first water source that day out of Tucson. So it's going to be a doozy in that sense, but I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing Outlaw again and start hiking with him and, kind of get back into the desert and get away from this northeast kind of gray, crummy weather type of season that we're in right now. So I'm excited. I'll make sure I get some content out there as soon as I get out there. And yeah, this is the end of the little AZT pre-show here. So yeah, we'll get to it very shortly. So at this point, with everything already laid out, I'm just going to go through what I have to put together. It's 4 boxes, nice and easy. What I like to do is I look at my distance between the 2 points. So our first box, we're looking at Vail, Arizona between Oracle, Arizona, 90.1 miles by foot. It's always hard to judge how fast you're going to go on trail, especially being removed from trail and, not close to knowing what the type of tread is going to be like, how you're going to be reacting. But what we decided on was about 23 miles a day on average. So with that, I already know, the amount of food that I kind of go through in a day, which I'll read through to you right now. For breakfast, I like to have 2 packets of oatmeal at 110 calories each, 2 breakfast essentials at 130 calories each. I have a limited amount of those, didn't get enough. So we'll have some variation in that. Lunch, 3 small tortillas, 75 calories each, so 225. 2 meat packets, 100 calories on average, 200 calories there. Quarter jar of peanut butter throughout the day. That's 665 calories, lots of good fat, lots of good protein. Packet of ramen, 370 calories. For dinner, north side, usually those can kind of be anywhere between 440 to upwards of 5, depending on if you do pasta or rice. I like to change it up, do different ones. Snacks throughout the day. I like to have 2 Cliff Bars. I like to have 2 Fig Bars, which are these kind of like baked little goodies. It's like a Fig Newton, but tastes a lot better. I'll have 2 protein bars, which I have these Special K ones that I've kind of tried on and off on trails and actually been pretty huge on them. It's tough because, especially on these desert trails, packing bars that are coated in yogurt or chocolate, they always melt. But try to kind of put stuff in my pack rather than in my hip belts, at least those ones, to avoid that as best as I can. Peanuts, good fat, good protein. A quarter every day of one of these M&M bags. Can't really escape that. I've had a hard time not doing that. Candy's always great on trail. Some peanut butter crackers, turkey sausage, and a quarter bag of Cheetos, Doritos. It's another one of those things that I'll get on trail and kind of keep the variety going. But yeah, so that's all for one day. And those counts end up coming down to 5,193 calories, and the protein all added up there. My horrible handwriting, 188.25 grams of protein. So I like to have a high protein diet on trail, helps me feel good. And I like to have a high calorie diet because in my past experiences, no matter how much I eat, no matter how much I try to keep up and gorge myself in town, I always end up losing a ton of weight on through hikes. So, try to kind of mitigate that as best as I can. But for now, we're going to pack up this first box here, and I guess all the subsequent ones. This one first down to Vail, Arizona for the Vail to Oracle stint. So, yeah. So it's been a very long night, very tired, a lot of packing. But most of our boxes here are ready to go. Going to get these out tomorrow morning in the post office, send most of them out. I also have to send out a box with my second pair of shoes. I like wearing these Topos. Nice wide toe box. I think these are the Ultra Venture 2s. I got these a while back. I was going to use them for the CDT, but ended up going with some Hoka Speed Goats instead. But fantastic shoes. I've liked them a lot. And yeah, next time I see you guys, I'll be on a flight or in Arizona getting ready to get this thing in gear. So looking forward to it.